there is going to be a video, so, that works. Okay. Hi, my name is Professor Lonnie. I'm here to teach you main making and tail making, though I won't be getting into tail making until the next lesson, so it doesn't jumble anything up, because there's a few differences in making a tail and a mane. One more complex than the other. But today, we're gonna start off by, you're gonna need a pony, whether it be EP, flower, magic, whatever it is that you're wanting to create for. I personally do the magic pony because that's the only thing I have done. So, make sure you have some kind of, I call it NARBS pass, but it's probably wrong. Make sure you have a hairpiece to work with, because kind of part of the lesson. We're going to open up the hairpiece here, because we're going to play around with it at first, because I understand it's a bit harder to make something when you don't know how to play with the pieces. So we're just going to open this bad boy up. This is our hairpiece. So obviously right now we're in object mode. It's your basic mode. It's the mode that you're going to be in when you get on Blender. You can't do much in object mode. You can move it around. You can shrink it or make it bigger by hitting S. It's easier if you have your cursor to the bottom of the screen. So when you go to shrink it, it goes a lot easier than if you're close up and you try to shrink it, because it's harder if that does. I believe that makes sense. It's a lot harder to maneuver how big it's going to be when it's close up, because now I have it big. I have to pan my camera out and zoom out. You don't really want to have to do that, because it can not only mess you up a little bit, but it also can end up taking an object and pushing it away from the center, or wherever it is that you're wanting to place it, because then you have to maneuver it back into place, and that's just a whole lot of hassle. So we're going to get into moving and squishing around the piece. So to do that, you're going to hit Tab, or if you don't like hitting buttons, you can go down to where it says Object Mode here, click it, and then go into Edit Mode, and it does the same thing. Now, we have these tiny dots. These are called vertices. Vertices move things. No vertices, no movie. It's how it works. So right now I have 4. You can do a lot with 4, honestly. You can do all kinds of shapes. If you wanted to, you could do waves. It's not a very good way. There's a mustache right there. Bam. You can make certain kinds of curls. And if you double tap A, it'll select all your vertices. And then if you hit Alt S, both at the same time, you can thin out your piece. So you can make those finer details. Or make a thick boy. Whatever it is that you're needing. I think I kind of want a smaller piece, because it curves a lot easier when it's thinner, in my opinion. And you can make all kinds of shapes. You can make S. Honestly, if you wanted to, you could even make coil curls. They're like springs. If you really wanted to play around with this, it wouldn't be all too hard. There are ways to add more vertices, but I will not get into that so it doesn't confuse anyone, because it's all kind of confusing. I'm not gonna lie. Here, let me just pop this back into place here. All right. So you can also, you know what? Say you have a mane or a tail or whatever it is you want to make. You want it thicker at like the top here, but you want it thin down here. Right? Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick pieces that you want thick. Make sure that you're holding shift while you click these. You're going to right click them to gather them all up. So I want these 3 pieces, right? So now I can move these 3 pieces if I hit G. It's a bit more advanced. You don't have to do it, but it is an option. To do that, you hit G. So you can move sections like that using G. But that's a bit advanced. So we're not going to bother with that. But it's the same way how I told you earlier to stretch an object. We're going to hit S and I can elongate it. Or if I hit Alt and S, I can make it thick or I can make it skinny. And it edits the shape of how my piece looks, which will, of course, change the way your hairpiece will look in a mane or a tail or whatever it is that you're wanting to make. I'm assuming because you're here, it's a mane. Make all kinds of pieces. This would be really cute as a bang. Oh, if I can, there we go. It would be a really cute bang. I will say that it is a bit harder to move pieces around when you have multiples because you can get it kind of confusing. But we will get into that in a minute. It's not too hard, but it can be a bit difficult. I remember when I started making manes and whatnot, I was pretty confused because there wasn't really that much to help me mess around with the main pieces. I just kind of had to fumble around with it. I wanted to make sure that people who came after me who wanted to do manes and tails could not have that issue and that it would be easier. Because the last thing anyone wants to do is be stuck on something and then have no one to help them with. But I'm going to go ahead and straighten this out a bit. That's good enough. Okay. So when it comes to unrigged and rigged, it's pretty much just adding certain things to it to make it move with the skeleton, which will make it move in SL. Today we're going to focus on unrigged because when it comes to unrigged, anyone can upload that. While it takes a whole nother add-on to do rigged objects. Ow. Sorry, I hit my foot on my computer. So we're gonna make a unrigged mane. I'm gonna do a short one because long unrigged manes aren't all that great in my opinion. They don't move with the body, and certain positions like the MAGIK Pony's flop, it can look very awkward when you just have a main piece just heading straight down. We all kind of relived that when we used the EP, for example. You can't really rig anything to the EP because it's in chunks. And I'm sure there's a way, but it's probably very complicated. But, alright. So, we're going to go into files. You need to first make sure that you have the pony or whatever it is that you want to create for downloaded. You have the body and you have the hairpiece. When it comes to that, we're going to go to open and we are going to open up the body that we're creating for. Don't mind this. This is something I was doing. All right. So here we have our pony. Nothing too major. Don't mind all that. I leave my files pretty messy. I'm not a messy person when it comes to Blender. We're going to, no, wait, hold on. So we're going to go to file here and we're going to do append. Because what append does is it will keep your body there and then it'll add in another piece. Because if I were to just hit open again, like this, it would just do something like this. It would open up an entirely new file instead of opening on the already mentioned file. So I'm going to go back here and reopen this. I'm going to clean up my mess here so it's better. All right. And we're going to go to File and down to Append. From there, we're going to get our hairpiece. In that case, my case, it is the one that Kakuma provided for us. It's my favorite piece to work with because it's what I'm most comfortable with, but you can work with anything that you think would be more comfortable for you. And we're going to go to Object here, and we're going to pull this NARP's path. And it's going to come in like this. Don't worry. It's not stuck like that. What you're going to do is you're going to right-click on your little hairpiece here, and we're just going to move it up or wherever it is that you want to put it. You can put it to the side if you'd rather it be on the side. I prefer mine on the top because then I can just drag down the pieces and shrink them. And you do not have to make the same thing as me. I'd prefer it if you made something that is more your taste. I want to see what you guys come up with because everyone has different likes, different opinions, different styles. Everyone is different. And what fun would it be if we all just made the same piece? So you might be asking, well, there's only one piece. Do I just append more pieces as I go? The answer to that is no. That is very tedious, and there is an extremely easy and simple way to keep having more hair pieces without having to append. And to do that, we're going to right-click on our hair piece here. We're going to hit Shift and D. What that does is it makes a copy. Just set it down hitting the left-clicked button. Because if you hit the right-click, it'll just stay in place like this. So I see, and then I right-click, and it's still in that place. If that's what you want to do, by all means, do it. I want this to be as comfortable and just as personal as I can get it for each individual. Obviously, I can't make everything easy, and I can't do everything for you or help you with certain things, but I will do my best, the best of my ability to make sure every one of you can succeed in your main making, or maybe it's just a hobby and you just want to learn something. I'm going to try my best to make sure that you can. So I'm going to select my extra hairpiece, and I'm going to hit S again to shrink it down to size, and I will hit G so it moves. And I'm just going to, get my camera in the right place. And I'm just going to hit G again to place it in the correct position and pan around my camera. And I'm going to hit Tab, or you can come down here and click it and switch into edit mode, but I am going into edit mode. And I'm just going to play with the pieces a little bit. Make sure, get the shape I want, really. Make sure that it fits to the skull of the pony or the head, whatever, pronoun. Well, it's not a pronoun. Whatever word you prefer. And I'm just going to shrink it down, squish it, move it around, do what I got to do to get that shape that I want. As you see, depending on where the vertice is, I get a completely different shape. Maybe I want something lazy looking, like, I just got out of bed, bedhead. Then I'm going to do something like this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift click these 3 vertices here, and I'm going to Alt S to make them bigger. And then I'm going to right click on this vertex here, shift and click this little vertex here, Alt S. I'm going to shrink that down. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it look thicker at the top and thinner at the base so that I don't have to add as many pieces to the top. Therefore, making it easier to upload an SL, reducing your triangles. Triangles are pretty important because what that is the more triangles you have, the harder it is to upload into SL. SL is extremely old and it does not update its software all that much, nor its hardware, so it can be difficult when things are progressing and SL itself does not want to progress. So it's best to keep your triangles and your land impact down as much as you possibly can. And with these steps that I'm about to show you after we make our main, we'll reduce it from being like, let's say it's 30, right? It'll take that 30 and it'll boost it down to 4-1 land impact. So it'll drastically decrease and it'll help customers or maybe yourself. If you don't have that good of a PC and rezzing stuff out makes you lag, it'll probably help with that so you won't lag out trying to edit your main. Because what's more upsetting than making a main, trying to res it out and color it, and then every time you try to, you just kind of pop offline. It's not fun. So we're gonna hit tab again, or you can come down here and click the little menu. We're gonna get out of edit mode and go back into object mode. And I'm just gonna hit Shift D, create another piece, get it to about the area I want it, and left click. I'm just gonna pan my camera a bit here and hit tab or go down to the menu, whatever you prefer, and go back into edit mode. I am also going to grab this little vertice here, this little guy, and I'm gonna push him back over here, creating a hairline there. I prefer to put, hairlines in if I can to make the hair look more natural and just less messy. Because when pieces are just going all over each other, not giving you that hairline, it can look a bit wonky. And the last thing we want is a wonky hairdo. I'm just going to take this and bend it, make sure that it fits the style I want. Oh, and say if, like, maybe this happens and you want to go back and fix that, you're just going to hit Control and Z, and it'll put it back to the position you had before the change. I know it can be pretty scary. You mess up and then realize, I don't know how to go back. How do I go back? Well, now you know. It's Control Z, and that'll work with any change, mostly in Blender. So it won't just help you here, but it'll help you in other places. Like maybe you also want to create objects and other things for Professor Dye's class. That's a control that's used very, very commonly and is something that I think is very useful than to just having to start all over. Because, let's face it, starting all over sucks, especially after you put in all that effort. But now that I have my two hair pieces here, I'm just going to pick this one by right-clicking it, and I'm going to hit Shift and D again to make another copy. I'm just going to put it in place, and then I'm going to hit Tab to get into my edit mode, and I'm just going to shove this into the correct place as well. And you don't have to worry too much about it going into the head like it is here, because most of the time, depending on how your main is, you most likely won't even see it. So why would it matter? If you can't see it, what does it matter if it's covering it? Because your goal, honestly, your main goal is to put it as close to the head as possible so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So like maybe I want it to go like this. Then I can put it this way and it'll give it a nice little touch. See? Cute little eye cover bang. Push this one down. It's a cute little eye cover bang. I would wear that. And we're just gonna continue to just Shift D and fill in the shape how we want. Now, it's getting kind of crowded up here, and I kind of want it a bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here into the corner. I'm going to hit S. I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to hit G so I can move it a bit easier. Pan my camera around, make sure it's in a decent spot. And I'm going to hit Tab again so that I can maneuver it. When it comes to around the ears, you want to be careful behind the ears. Because on the MAGIK Pony and anything that has a very movable ear, bento ear, and a mesh ear, whatever it may be, if it moves, you're going to want to try and stay away from the ear. Because that hair piece that might be behind the ear has the possibility of going through the ear when it starts to move. And that's just, it's not the best, especially when you want to have certain ear poses. It can look pretty weird. So now that I shrunk this, I'm just going to push it into the position I think would be best. Push it in more so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. And I do intend to get into rigging in this video. Since this is a short mane, it'll probably only take me one vertice group. I like to call it a bone because that's basically what the skeleton is it's just a bunch of bones that you put things on. And you want to kind of be wary of the pony itself because you don't want to get bald spots. And to make that easier, I'm going to hit Tab again. I'm going to right click on this pony here. And there will be a little checkered circle over here in your menu. I just call it the View and Search menu because it has View and Search. I'm just going to click this checkered circle here. And I'm just going to go over here to this other little tiny checkered circle here that will let me browse through the materials. And what the materials are, it's a bunch of colors that you can pick from. Depends on how many colors you have. Depends on, what you can do. I just want to, let's have a pink pony because pink is the best color and you can fight me on that. Just gonna make sure this piece looks good because it kind of looks wonky right there. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna keep holding this vertice and I'm gonna hit Shift and get these other two vertices here. And I'm gonna hit Alt S to thin them out a bit so that I have a thinner piece here and it better fits the pony's head. That looks about right. And what I'm going to do here is I want to take this side of the head here, and I just want to do like a half do. Maybe it won't, a side shave. Yes, there's the word. I want to do a side shave so that I only have to do half the work because I'm pretty lazy. And it can be kind of hard to take a piece like this and to do it on the other side. You can do it if you feel like you need both sides. Perfectly fine. I'm just gonna skip it because I want a side shave. I won't need the other side. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna zoom out here and I'm gonna grab our little piece that we left up here. I'm just gonna hit Shift D to create another copy and left click. After that, I have left click. I'm going to go over here to in the bottom of my screen. I'm going to hit S so I can shrink that bad boy. I made it a bit too small. There we go. All right, and after I've done that, I'm gonna hit G, and I'm just gonna keep doing this until I get to the position I think be best. Wow, that's a bit big. We're gonna hit Tab here, and the first time you hit tab, it's already got all the vertices selected. So if you want to go ahead and thin it out, it's the perfect time to do it while you have all of them already selected. And to shrink our hairpiece here again, we're just going to hit Alt and S, make it thicker or make it thinner. I think I want mine pretty thin, like right here looks about right. And I'm just going to create a hairline a bit better here. Actually, let me move this here. Yeah. Bit in my way. Just gonna make a little hairline here. And I see it's a bit too thin here. It looks like I'll have to add way too many pieces. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold on to that vertice and I'm gonna click these two seem about right. And I'm gonna hit Alt S to make it a bit thicker so that I won't have to add as many pieces. And it'll look just as full as it would if you had many more pieces. And it looks pretty wonky right now. But when you're making mains, I go by stages. There's the I'm bald stage. I have 1 or 2 hairs. Okay, now my head's getting kind of awkward, and then the finished product. I'm just going to, right now, mine is probably in the I'm awkward kind of phase. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay to be awkward. And I notice, it doesn't look all that great right there. I'm going to fix that in a second after I get its little hair piece here to cooperate with me, because I didn't have a style quite in mind here. I just wanted to make something that would be easy for you guys to follow. Let's see. I'm just going to take these 2 vertices again, shift click to get those 2 vertices or more. I'm going to hit Alt S because it's pretty thin. I didn't mean to make it that thin. Alright, so now we got this little piece here. And because I have this little piece here, I think I'm going to make like a mom kind of do, like, what's her name? She's from the Elastic Girl. I don't remember her actual name. I just remember her calling her Elastic Girl. Elastic Girl? Either way, I want that mom haircut with the side bang. So what I'm going to do here is, because I'm in edit mode, make sure that when you create a piece, you are in object mode. Because what happens is when you have just one little vertice selected and you hit Shift D, you just duplicated that other vertice. And you can't really do anything with the vertice. It's kind of pointless. So I'm just going to hit Control Z to get rid of that. And I'm going to hit Tab. And then I'm going to hit Shift and D yet again. It's a button you're going to use a lot. And I'm just going to hide the fact that my pony's kind of bald here. And I'm going to create a little, there we go, see? And I see that there's a few bald spots here, so I'm just going to fix those real quick. Make it pretty. There we go. I'm not too worried about that bald spot because after I add the cell shade, it's not going to really matter. It's just the bigger ones that I'm more worried about. That seems about right. So now I can go back and start editing this piece again now that I fixed that issue. And I think I want to add one more piece, but I don't want it to be as thick as this. So what I'm going to do after I get back into object mode is I'm going to make another copy of that, and I'm going to hit Tab, and I'm going to double tap A to get all of my vertices. I did not. There we go. And I'm going to hit Alt and S so that I can shrink that bad boy down. Yeah. And I'm going to cam around. You know, even if you gotta get in those awkward kind of views to get what you need, do it. Because you can always reset your camera view. It's just a bit more tedious to do it when you are making a main. And there's a lot of problems that can happen when doing just one-sided mains. You can have issues like this right here. You can see under the main there. A lot of people will complain about that, so what I just do is I smoosh it. Smoosh it down. Wow, my throat's really dry. What I'm gonna do here is I just want to kind of make sure that it's not peeking out of the ears here. I'm just going to squish it around, get that shape I really want. That seems about right. Let's squish it a bit more. That looks about right. Now, I see that it's poking out of my ear here. What I am going to do, hit tab, and I'm going to go to this bad boy right here in the middle. Hit tab, I'm going to get into edit mode. And I'm going to shift click my vertices here, these two, and Alt and S. So I can shrink them so it fits better in the middle. And then I hit tab, click, and I'm just going to cover up that bald spot. You always want to make sure that you're panning around your pony as you're working to prevent bald spots. Because it feels really, really bad when you upload this beautiful mane that you've worked on, only to find a huge bald spot that you missed. So always, when you are working on your pony, always look around and pan so you can avoid issues like bald spot. And that's still poking out the ears, so I'm going to push that in. Just really mess around with it. It's kind of like squishing clay around, in my opinion, because you're sculpting something to get a different result. And it's not too impressive. It's not. But I don't expect anyone to just pop out this goddess of a mane on their first go. Because I'll tell you what, my first mane, oh boy, it had a lot of issues. But I'm going to make sure that you guys don't have those same issues so you can be pros right off the bat. Because I really want to see you guys succeed in something that you really want to do. Because I remember when I started out, I was so scared that no one would try to help me, or I thought that I would fail immediately. And luckily, I had two amazing people back me up. And because of that, I'm now here teaching you guys how to do it. So now that I have my styled mane, I don't see any bald spots here that I'm too worried about. So what I'm going to do now is hit tab to get back into object mode. And I'm done with this piece now, so I'm going to click X to delete. You want to make sure your paw pads, that's what I call them because they look like paw pads, do not delete them. Ever. Because it will destroy your hair. And you'll have to Control Z it to get it back. And just don't touch them if you can. Just don't touch them. And I see there's a little hair issue here. I'm not really that worried about it anymore. So next, this is the bit more complicated part, but I'm gonna go slow for you guys so you can understand. So faces. Depending on how many faces, depends on how many colors you can have. SL only really likes 8, but at 7, it decides it also doesn't like you very much and doesn't want to upload anything. So I try to stick to 4 if I can. If not, then 5. I don't really like going past 5 because it can cause issues and it's just annoying. So now I'm going to select these two pieces right here, and to do that, I click on this one here click on this one here piece, and shift, and right click on another one, so it looks like this, orange and an orange yellow. And I'm going to go down to the view, select, add an object. I'm going to click object, and then at the very, very top here, it has convert to, or you can hit Alt and C. Does this a little shortcut. And I'm going to click mesh from curve, meta, surf, text here to make that a mesh. It looks like it's connected, but it is not. Do not be fooled. You're going to hit Control and J. What that does is it now connects the two pieces. And now these two pieces right here are mesh. So we're going to go to the checkered circle here. And go to the little tiny baby circle. We're going to give it a material. I think purple. Beautiful. Gorgeous. 10 out of 10. And now I'm going to do the same with my other pieces. So I'm going to go with 2 colors. No, I'm going to go with 3 faces. So I'm just going to repeat that process here with this one piece. I'm going to go to Object, Convert to, Mesh from Curve, Meta, Surf, and Text. Click that bad boy, and then I'm going to give that bad boy a color. He's yellow now. And I'm going to do it over here too, because I wanted 3 colors. So this is how I'm going to get my 3 colors. Making black. Perfect. So now we have our 3 main faces. If you want more, then feel free to add more. I only made enough for 3 faces, so that's what I'm going to do. So now we have our 3 faces. You can leave it in chunks, which is a bit harder when you want to rig your longer mains and you leave them in chunks. A bit harder. So what I like to do is I'll shift and click 3 colors, and I'm going to hit Control and J. And that has now linked those pieces. Oh my goodness. Link those pieces. But I have now seen that I've gotten ahead of myself. So I'm going to Control Z to unlink those bad boys. Eventually they will unlink. Okay, they already have unlinked. Oh my goodness. So now we have our 3 faces. So I'm going to give these bad boys their 3 faces too. So Object, Convert to, Mesh from Curve, Meta, Surf, and Text. That's a mesh now. Once you have all your main faces done, you don't have to keep adding more. You're going to shift, click on the face you like, the color, and you're going to Control J. And it already gives it its material, and it has linked it together. I'm just gonna give everything else what it needs. Same process. Shift click, Control J. I'm gonna do it to this piece too. Convert to mesh. And then shift click J. And now they all have their materials. A shift, click these other 2, and then J. And now that's all one piece. I'm going to, because we're already at this step, I'm going to show you how to cell shade, and then we will get on to the next part. So to cell shade, super easy. Mega simplicity acquired. We're going to Shift D, get this piece, right click, keep it in place. We're going to hit Tab and A. What that does is it grabs it. So now I can go to the bottom of my screen here, Alt and S to make it bulky. And then we're going to go to Mesh. And I know this looks pretty complicated. I'm not going to go into all the pieces, But all you need to know for cell shading is going to normals, flip normals, and then you're going to, on this hair piece that you have selected, get rid of your materials. Scratch that. You're going to hit tab. Then you are going to get rid of your materials. And then you want to give that its solid material. I have a lot of materials. I'm going to make it white. It stands out. So now it has its cell shade. I'm just going to... I have this selected. I like the thickness. You can continue to fool around with the thickness. It's the same thing. You go to tab, Alt S to make it thinner. Maybe you want super thin. Maybe you want extra thick. I'm pretty happy here. Hit tab. I'm going to shift. I'm going to click to grab the main underneath. I'm going to Control J. And now that's a shell. It's a cell shaded main. I forgot to mention that I'm not all here. I am in multiple places in my head. But I am also here. I am All Might. So now that's your unrigged main right there. You can leave it unrigged, or if you have Avastar, you can rig it. But I will show you how to export an unrigged main. So it's made now. So we're going to hit tab here. Make sure we have everything selected. And we're going to open this bad boy. So what this would normally be is, it'll be this on yours. It'll be your little Kuba's little avatar content creation rules. You're going to go to this little paper dude down here. And you're going to hit UV image editor. What that does is when you have all of it selected, when it's all orange, this is your little UV map. You're going to have hover your cursor over this and hit A. And you're going to hit R90. And then you're just going to click your left button. You're going to left click. And we're done with that now. So we're going to shrink that bad boy back. And that's your unrigged main right there. Now that bad boy's going to take textures and it's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to go back into object mode. And now it's ready as an unrigged main to be uploaded. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to File. If you'd like, you can save it. Always do save as, unless you are saving over to rewrite a file. You're going to go to Export. And there's going to be Collada Avastar and Collada... Collada Default. And the default will be an unrigged, while an Avastar will be rigged. And you're just gonna give it a name. I'm just gonna make a random name for it. Bam. There's my name for it. And I'm just gonna hit export. What that does is that has turned it into a file, a die file, or a day. I believe it's day. And you can upload that into the real world. The uploading process is the same as you saw in Professor Day's videos. If you haven't seen them, I would definitely check them out so you can also learn how to make original mesh and whatnot that isn't hair pieces. But now, it's getting closer to the end of our video for this lesson, so I'm going to go into rigging. My main is super short, so I won't have to do a lot of rigging here. What I'm going to do here, though, is there is little tiny dots. This is right here. This is your layers. So I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to click the little circle that isn't orange. And what that does is it brings up my skeleton for me. I'm going to click on my skeleton here, and I'm going to go to Object Mode and put it in Pose. So now I can move my little body around. Oh, that does not look comfortable. I'm so sorry. And I'm going to double tap A on here. And in Avastar, there is this thing called workflows. You're going to go down to skin and weight, and this will work your pony. They will look very shocked. Don't worry. We're going to fix that. Mine did not look shocked because I messed around on this file. But normally the mouth will be open and the front legs will be squeezed. There's a way to fix that. You will hit spacebar and you will type in rotations, clear pose rotations. And then that'll give you back to how your pony looked before, like this. And what that does, it just gets rid of all the rotations, so when you upload it into SL, it's not flipping around doing crazy stuff. And it'll stay on your little noggin. So now, what we're going to do, since that's all cleaned up now, is we're going to right-click our main, Shift, right-click the skeleton, and hit Control-P. And that, okay. That's going to bring up a Set Parent To menu. You're going to hit Armature Deform. What that does is it grips onto the skeleton for dear life. And now that that's on the skeleton, we're done with this little menu for now. So we're going to right-click on our main, Object Mode. We're going to go into Weight Paint. It's going to be blue. So over here in our View and Search menu, let me stretch this out. Oh, can I please? Please. Yeah. We're going to go over here. There's a little triangle with 3 circles. We're going to, excuse me. We're going to click that bad boy. And over here, we're going to go into Tools. So with this, your numbers, not your number pad, your actual numbers, because your number pad handles your camera, there's going to control your brushes. So 1 will be add, 2 is blur, and 8 is subtract. We're going to go into add. You want to make sure that auto normalize is on, and you want to make sure your strength is as far as it can go. Now, we're going to hit Z. What? Oh, did I do it wrong? I sure did. I'm going to hit Z here. And it doesn't look like it did what I want it to. So we're going to, at the very bottom, there's this little window here. It has 2 squares with the little tiny dots on them. I'm going to click that and double twice to make sure that it's where it needs to be. And we're just going to drag down. That's on the wrong joint. There we go. Make sure you have the right bone selected. I like to rig my mains on the M head, so it'll move with the head for the most part. And we're just going to drag this down. So now it's linked to my head. So I'm going to hit Z again. And now it'll move with my head. The longer the main, of course, the more rigging and weight painting you have to do. I would invest in using, I would suggest using the blur tool to blur it out as much as you can so that it is more natural when it moves. You want to think of it as a heat map. So if I have it linked to the shoulder here, it would be the hottest at the bottom and the coldest at the top, blurring up. So you want to blur upwards to where it goes from dark blue to cyan or light blue, whatever color you want to call it. I don't have to do that with this main because it's a little short, boy. It can't help it. Its shortness. It's just how we did it. So for my short little main, it's done. It's all rigged. So now we're going to tab. That'll bring us into edit mode, so you can just hit object mode again. And we're going to go back into Atlas Star because now we're ready for that. We're going to scroll down. And then in skinning, you can see that it's red. A little red restart button. What it's going to do is it's going to repair the binding to the skeleton because after you rig it, it kind of unbinds. And because it's unbounded, SL does not want that. So we have to click the little button to rebind it. Now the little button's gone back to normal. It's rebound. So what we can do now is the fun part. You go to File, Export or Save as, Export, Avastar. And we're just going to give it a name. Don't mind the name, it's fine. And we're going to hit the little button up here. Now it's a little file that we can upload into SL. And to upload into SL, I will go into that actually. Pop things open for you. All right. So now we're ready to upload. So we're going to go to World. No, we're going to go to Build, Upload, Mesh Model. And here we have our files. So I'm going to upload my rigged one. And it's going to bring up this menu. I have kind of a lot of triangles, not many, but more than I'm more or less comfortable with. And I'm going to hit use LOD above for medium. Do not use it on low or lowest. It will be horrendous. Hit that. It's going to do its little thing. And then for low, you can put it at 0 or 1. I put mine at 0. It's just what I'm used to. 1 works the same. I do 0. And now it's ready. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to name this one after my mom. Perfect. And now we're going to hit calculate weights and fees. And it's going to say upload. Because we edited it to be how we did at the source part of it, the LOD, level of detail, LOD, it's cheaper. It's 11L. It can get expensive depending on how complex your main is. For example, if you wanted a main like, what is her name? Like Sia, for example, all those hair pieces. Well, what's her name? Songbird Serenade. It can get pricey depending on the topology. You can learn about topology and how to lower that in Professor Day's classes. She's gone over it beautifully, in my opinion. We're just going to hit upload. And what that does is it's just going to, it's going to upload like you would a texture. And we're going to take off, that's my little hairpiece. We're going to take this off. Go to recent, object. And then we're just going to put this on. We're going to hit add. And look, there's our little main. And then, so it takes textures. We're just going to give some random colors here and make it a bit easier on everyone. All right, it's got some colors here. And we are going to click OK and move. This is where it gets, this is what, your texture is going to come out weird if you don't do this. Rotation degrees, you want that to be at 90, like it was in Blender. And get your little texture for it. Here we go. Did I not do it? Oh, I sure don't. Okay, never mind. I already fixed it. So, dang it. So now that it is all fixed, the rotation's done, the textures look great on it. It is now ready for you to show it off to your friends. It is ready to go on sale. Whatever it is that you want to do. That bad boy is ready. Edit those permissions and you're good to go. Of course, if you have questions, comments, concerns, you need help with something, I'm always available to help. I am mostly at work during the day, but I will always answer when I get the chance. You can find me in Winnie Hollow or Frasian Junction, wherever I might be. I don't go to many places. I'm just saying I am here to help if you need help. I had so much fun teaching you guys. I understand that I talk fast. I'm sorry, I have ADHD. I really am trying. I hope that this was helpful. Do you have any issues with anything? You want me to clarify something? I have no problem clarifying. I have no issue helping anyone. If I can help you, I will help you. And I think that I'm going to end the lesson here until next lesson. I would like it if you guys would make an unrigged or a rigged main, whichever you prefer. Depends on how advanced you want to go. Depends on if you want to spend the money for Avastar. I'd like it if you guys would make just one main. It has no deadline, but I find if you make mains, people start seeing it, they will get so excited and they'll also want to make mains and tails. I would like it if you guys would make a unrigged short main. It could be long. Whatever style you want. Just please, please, please give it originality. Please don't copy the main I did. And come see me in World when you're done. Of course, I'm always at Winnie Hollow or Frasian Junction. And I can go over everything with you. Whatever you may need, I am here for you. I don't know what else to say. I love you. That's the end. Yeah, I love you.